meeting after the election, I thought we'd just quickly just go around, give your name, what you like to be called, your pronouns.
My name,
Yeah, just what you want to be called.
Peter Lorre. Hey, you is fine.
Ben, just call me Ben.
Yeah,
What are your
Peter.
pronouns?
Peter, he.
Okay,
Yep,
He
Ben, just
is.
call me Ben.
okay. He,
Sure.
He, him,
Okay.
his. I'm dragon, which I'm they, she.
with what?
They, she pronouns.
Okay.
I'm a member of the board.
Margaret Mastrangelo, Margaret, she.
Susan Mosler, Susan, she, her. Okay. Congratulations to Dragon, who won the election, and Ben, who will shortly be our health director. We are beyond ecstatic.
I think we're all happy. It's
Okay.
a good time. We've got great plans ahead. I think.
Okay, good. So we welcome call to order. Should we take a vote to accept the previous minutes?
Oh, yep. Make a motion. Do favor.
Except with the edits that I emailed like an hour ago.
I didn't see
It was just the preferred name. So change
Oh.
it. That's all.
Okay.
I looked at it. That's what it looks like.
That was it.
That was it.
Second,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, minutes accepted. We'll go right to the update from the health director.
All right, so couple things. Last time I was here, spoke about a facility that had some issues with keeping compliance with bacterial counts for frozen desserts. There was an issue where they had agreed not to serve it to the public. For whatever reason, there was a lack of communication somewhere in leadership, and they still continued to.
Okay.
So I followed up with that. They 100% stopped doing that, and they contacted I think the manufacturer of the equipment, and they found out that there was a piece of the equipment that is removable and should be cleaned and was not being removed and cleaned.
That-
Interesting.
So-
If I think I know, it's not an uncommon recurrent theme.
Got it.
Good work. Good.
Yeah, well, I just pushed him in the right direction.
Yeah.
Whoever was that went there and discovered,
Yeah.
hey, it's this thing that you guys aren't cleaning. That guy or gal deserves the
Okay.
the credit. But yeah, so since then they've had one clean report. They're gonna have. I asked them one more, and then they can serve it to the public again. All right, the next thing is the issue with the rabid beaver that was found along Connecticut. Just to make sure everybody's on the same page on this, I reached out to environmental police, and I reached out to Mass Wildlife. Mass Wildlife called me back, had said that they don't believe that there is a continuing concern. It is extremely rare, apparently only 3 times in Massachusetts, that a wild beaver was found to have rabies. I think within the recent history.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's pretty uncommon. They didn't expect there to be even from the same lodge any others that
That's interesting.
that had. So that's what they told me. However, I think if this does happen again, A, I'll drag it down, and B, I'll reach out to them again because they record things. They like document it. So they need to keep track. So
Who was that actually? What?
that was Mass Wildlife.
Yeah, so thank you for your
Yeah. For,
Yeah, no problem.
on top
And
of
Dragon
that.
was great help on that too.
But now, Mass Wildlife doesn't help
No.
in the future. You're supposed to call Susan because she's a beaver expert.
A beaver expert, right?
I am.
So I heard.
She knows
I am.
she's learned a lot bit about them. Yeah, I mean, one thing is though, I did ask if there was ever an actual like problem. We had a lot of them that had an issue. They might do something about that.
If
But-
it's a cluster.
Yeah, but short of that, they're not
Okay,
going to.
they're just
Correct.
interested in the cluster.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out exactly.
Okay.
They're trying to track it. All right. Next thing is summer camps. We have a few applications. They're coming up. I do need to talk to our nurse about that because we need to collaborate. Have the applications. Went over one of them today. So I'll follow up. Just want to let you guys know those inspections are coming up. Next thing is food trucks and the bylaw, which was passed to some degree in May. There was action taken in May. Let's put it that way. And so since then, I have decided that even though it hasn't been signed off by the AG, that I'm going to review the application that we do have standing for the annual food truck license, and that we're going through that process right now. So, and I have been told that I can issue the health permit before the AG signs off.
Yeah, because the way that it was
The
written,
AG is.
Attorney General.
The Attorney General has to
Oh.
sign off on all and approve all any new
Oh,
bylaws
okay, got it, okay.
before they become active,
I
but
didn't
usually they
realize that.
become retroactive to the point where they
Okay.
were voted into
Okay.
effect. Yeah, because the way it was written, I'm not sure. I know they've had to update it since
Yes.
the way it was presented.
Yes.
But I think it's good that you're gonna approve things accordingly, because the way it was presented initially and approved is that individual departments in the steps have to approve it. The
I followed up with
permit
legal
for-
too, just to make sure, and they were like, "Yep, you're good."
Yeah.
So okay, we should be good. All right.
Great.
All right, so essentially, just from my notes, you'll examine this particular food truck. If it's fine, you can issue a permit, and then they still have to go before the select
Right.
board.
Our permitting of them will not, say that they don't have to get permitted by anyone else.
Right.
But I have been given the ability to review and permit before.
Yep.
Great.
So anyways, that's the update on that. The Asparagus Festival went mostly good. Vast majority, little stuff here and there, but mostly very good. There was one issue that was there. There was one vendor that had an issue with keeping their raw chicken separated from things that don't have a what's called a kill step, which is a cook step or something that would have killed any pathogens. They though were very willing to remove the contaminated items, and so no drama there. Everything was resolved. All right. Um, okay. Then the next thing is so this gets back to I looked at our last minutes, and on there we were talking about initiatives, like what we want to do for the next year or 3 years, like that type of thing. And so one of the things that has come up is, and I'm sure some have heard about it, is some people, I think, now that I'm reviewing things and asking for follow-ups and that type of a thing, and there's more time put into the reviews than could have been done before. We have more resources now. I have these hours, Peter has hours.
Right.
We have more there than we did before. And of course there's an inevitable road to people thinking that as normal, right? And so that would mean, if there's reviews of applications and documents, I might say, hey, I need to see this thing because that an example might be, can I get your license for your commissary kitchen, right? I might follow up with that, and somebody might tell me, well, that's not something I'm used to giving you guys, that type of thing, right? Most are okay with it, but some get a little, upset that the process has changed, right? And so because of that, I do think that it's not a bad idea when I say, well, this is how I do things. That might be how I do things all the time with everybody, but some are going to think they are being targeted or they're being aggressive. So that I'm being
Right.
aggressive towards them, right? And so it might not be a bad idea, especially as I take the position of director, that we put some policies and procedures related to
Absolutely.
that stuff on the website, so that when somebody thinks, hey, this guy,
Absolutely,
I can say, no, it's on the website. We do this with everybody.
absolutely.
So I thank you. I think it's a good idea, and I think it's not a bad idea to just run some of those through the board too. Like,
Yep.
if we're gonna put it on the website, I'll bring it to the Board of
Yeah.
Health meeting. You guys can read it. You guys can say.
The more of
yay or
that
nay.
kind of stuff we have on the website, the better,
Okay.
the better.
Yeah, I think it's important to have
We should
transparency,
have policies
And-
and procedures, and
yeah.
it should be transparent.
totally transparent. And
Hey.
that's what we have been, I think, focused on the last couple of years, is really putting these forms, putting the processes up on the web or on the website. And we're making this transition. So I think this is great now that we have you as
Yeah.
an inspector to really help formulate that policy and the procedure, actually. That's exactly what,
Yeah, we should
That's
have
exactly what we
cookbooks for a
do.
lot of things
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, and sitting in the same room with Ben, obviously I observe, overhear, whatever, some of the conversation. And to Ben's point, some of the conversations have been a little bit contentious in terms of, well, we never had to do this
Right.
before. Oh, yes. And you're correct, but here's why we do it. And the approach, to Ben's credit, the approach that Ben has taken is not one like, hey, I'm the new sheriff in town. These are the new rules, love it and leave it kind of thing. It's,
Right.
he's been trying to educate those that become a little bit contentious or
Yeah.
don't understand or never heard
So
of it or whatever. So I think it's all positive, but I think if we make it known that, here are the, if you will, policies, here are the procedures, here's the workflow, whatever,
Right.
you know, those conversations go away, or
Right.
some of them go away.
It shouldn't be, oh, Ben's deciding what he wants to do. I
Yeah.
mean, let's
Right.
have a policy,
Right.
which you can like,
Because,
but
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And there's some that, like when Dragon joined the board a little while ago, there's some that you've written some things that are there that that maybe weren't there even before
Mhm.
she was
Right.
here. So there's some of those that can just get either yeah, I'll talk to you about maybe I don't know about some where I haven't dug into it or whatever the case might be. So we can collaborate on all that
It'll
kind of
be a
stuff.
project
But
for you.
but it's a project that we'll
Yeah.
work on. I think it's a good idea to do so that we can kind of lower
Absolutely.
some of the temperature, maybe reduce some of the heat.
Hopefully not below an appropriate cook temperature though.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to.
Food safety joke.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Most will not find it entertaining, but you saw how I chuckled, right? A natural.
I missed the joke too. He said he hopes this lowers the temperature
Right.
in the room, and I said, but hopefully not be below an appropriate cook temperature.
Right.
It would have killed at a public health
Sure.
conference.
It would have.
She's here every night this week,
Yeah.
8 o'clock show
Yeah.
and 11 o'clock show.
She got Ben.
All right, so some of those, like you were talking about the initiatives, that I brought that up only as like a lead in to this next one, which is those initiatives. I thought about it a little bit, and uh, so one of those, I think maybe even just the first year that I'm full time will be just building a foundation. Some of those are policies, procedures, that type of a thing. But in building that foundation, maybe, and I think I mentioned this to you a little bit, public engagement. Like workshops or meetings about like, and a couple of them that just came to mind. You guys can tell me what you think, and certainly some suggestions would be welcome as far as I'm concerned. Would be like how you open a food business in Hadley, and it doesn't have to be just public health. There can be, it can say, hey, any of the departments want to join in,
Sure,
so
they would.
so their portion can be represented as well. Other ones would be maybe, we've had questions about how do I update my septic system? How do I know that type of a thing? Might not be a bad idea with for something like that. And then water testing for your private wells. Some of these things, and it doesn't have to be just me or another person in the town hall. UMass is right over there, right?
Yeah.
So there's some people that are subject matter experts that if we talk to them, give them enough heads up, they might come by and say, I'm Professor so and so. Here's some of the things you look for.
Absolutely.
That type of thing. But the community might I'm not expecting it to be like tons crowds or anything like that. But there's going to be some people that have thought about it and thought, actually that's something that I'll stop by and check it out.
These are things that are so appropriate, and we have never had the staffing to do it. So we back you 100%.
Okay, I thought it was a decent idea. So as far as the specifics go, I can reach out to you about that. But those were some of the ideas I have for initiatives. Does anybody else have any that that you were thinking of that you'd like to communicate to me? That
Well,
something.
I remember when this happened earlier. Can't remember now. It was last year, whatever. But again, we talked about policies
Yes.
for people who might need to move out of their homes.
Right.
That process.
Yeah. Like the housing code.
The housing code thing, the violations. I think I'm trying to think if this actually even applied when there were pipes that burst but there was certainly involvement with other town people that I think was helpful that we had that sort of schematic available.
Yeah.
Thinking, if and when that does happen, too, we can record it and we can have a link to it on the website,
Yeah.
you know.
Haley just emailed me today and was like, it was a hoarding task force. She had asked, can we get a follow up on that? And I was like, yeah, and we really need to pick up where we left off on it. And so she's certainly fully on board. And I know nobody else has said, yeah, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. The thing is things just get kind of crazy, and certainly they are right
Yeah.
now. But you got to refocus. And so we definitely made some improvement on it. We've made some headway. So we're in a much better place than we were before, but we can be in a better place. We're not done. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's a good suggestion, Margaret. I'm going to follow up on that, especially once I go back to once I become full time. Then I'll have some more time to kind of pick up some of the dropped balls. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would say just continue to our increased use of technology for transparency with operations.
Yep.
And then kind of the work that we're doing, which I know we've been doing since I joined the board at like what would seem light speed, but there's still, I think, areas. I know for myself, like I keep internal records as like the animal inspector, like
Yep.
on my own stuff, but is there
Sure, drive that. Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yep. Yeah. And we need to. You and I have a conversation about that. I think there's more that we can do with the electronic program that we have now. We just need to, I know
figure out.
you've been following up with them. I need to follow up with them. That's on me. I gotta do that a little bit more. I think if there's enough pressure, we might get a little bit more traction. So I'll do that too. Okay. Um, Any other suggestions that I can, you know, sit down with and review after we're done with the meeting?
For me, we've never had the bandwidth, but I think I'm looking forward to the potential of this coming year entertaining the thought of interns. Um, as a smaller department, but in a town that has a lot of health needs, right? Like especially like our disproportionate food
Yeah.
establishments. But just kind of what does that look like on a
Mhm.
town of 5,000 scale?
Yeah.
And then also kind of the things that we think about and like how we store records, like and all that kind of stuff. Because also if there's opportunities for like scanning or there's Peters, yes, that's always been like the thing in my brain is like there's so much opportunity
Yeah.
for stuff that we just can't get to.
Yeah.
That it would be a really nice gesture,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I actually before I started working for Somerville, I was doing some volunteer work before that, and part of it was stuff like that,
Yeah.
just they things were a mess. So, you just have to you dig in there,
Mhm.
and there's plenty of work to do. Anyway, speaking of that, I know you had reached out to me about something
Yeah,
was
I haven't
interested.
heard back from him.
Yep,
So-
but just in that vein, whether they reach out or not, yeah, I'm fully on board with that. I think Peter,
I mean, those ideas were terrific.
yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely, whoever those things would be good on the resume
Yeah.
too.
And if you're,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
and if you get to the point where you really are interested, you could just contact the public health
Yeah.
school, because I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of students who are looking for
Mhm.
internships. Just have to let them know it's available.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. A little bit of proactive.
And I
I
even
mean,
think about
we're
like
right, we have this incredible resource, and not just
Yeah.
the MPH, they have an undergraduate major. in
and for
public
me,
health.
I even think about high school interns
Yep.
because I know our Hadley Media utilize them a
Yeah.
lot.
Get one,
as
yeah.
great Yeah.
She's
like,
awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
Opportunities
not a
and
bad
things to
idea.
think of.
So when you get to it, Ben, you'll get to it.
Yeah,
But
right. That's
we,
triaged very low.
Yeah, but you know what? That might actually, you got to make the effort to do it. But once you do, a lot more work will
Right,
get
you
done
get
because
a lot of
somebody's
work
actually
done.
like,
Right,
yeah.
it's like a little investment today
Yeah.
means a lot more work is
Yeah.
done tomorrow, right?
I have just a general question, like that we were talking about that milkshake machine and
Yeah.
stuff. Does everybody who makes milkshakes have to have the testing done?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
we don't see it.
We only
So-
see it if it's out of compliance usually.
Well, okay,
Well-
and we get the labs that send us the report, which is only one,
Right.
might be the only one in the area, have been sending us even if it's
Oh.
in compliance. However, you're right.
We
and
don't get them from Friendlies. I mean, we don't get them from a ton of places. I
so
mean,
well,
Friendlies, I don't think.
they don't have a frozen dessert. They have do they?
Do they have
like
soft serve soup at Friendlies?
the
Soft
milkshake,
serve,
but
no.
that doesn't
Right.
go through the machine.
No, because that's a separate.
Yes,
right.
correct.
how about
That's very
like the
specific.
convenience
exactly what you
stores
meant.
that make like slushies and that kind of stuff?
So I'll have to follow up, but I'll give you one.
I'm just curious. That's all, yeah.
There's one that I did do an inspection of recently. Again, I'm not going to name names, but they weren't doing it and they didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And so I told them, you got to get on this. And it's a little challenging because they said, "Oh, great. Can you tell me who to use?" I'm like,
Yeah.
No, I can't. But just Google and you'll find them, right? And I give them like,
Now, how about the ice cream machines also need to be tested?
so anything it's called a
Frozen
frozen
dessert.
dessert. Yeah, a frozen dessert machine.
Like soft serve ice
Mhm.
cream.
It's usually
Correct.
soft serve.
Okay.
Yeah. So and the whole point is I can't. I mean, you guys probably I can't get in there and look, right? So really, the only way we know it's being cleaned correctly is those tests.
So when you find somebody who's not doing it, and
Yeah.
you tell them that they need to start doing it.
Correct.
Do they know to make sure that you get a copy of the?
Yeah. So the person I talked to,
Okay.
they know. However, the lab, if it's legit, knows too.
Okay.
And so they would be like, one of the first things we would ask is, who's your regulatory
Okay.
authority,
Mhm.
and they would send it out. But
Like
yeah.
flavors, I've never seen a report from flavors.
I haven't
mean,
been to Flavors
There's
yet.
tons
so.
of. I mean, there's a lot of places that are
Yeah.
that are serving that
So
kind of
each
stuff.
one that I run into that has it will be required to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Usually the ones that are out of compliance where they don't know to clean the machines, it's usually like the chain ones where there's a lot of younger employees
Right.
and a lot of turnover, so there's knowledge deficit.
Yeah. It might have been, to
Yeah.
your point, at some point that location that we're talking about
Mhm.
might have been cleaning it correctly, and that person left, and then they're
Right.
like, let's make it
That's-
up.
yeah.
All right,
Whatever
but
wiggles
we don't have
is
to belabor
removable.
it. I was just curious what the rule, like who was required to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll that will improve as the inspections are done. All right, but that's it for me. Those are great suggestions. Anything else for suggestions for initiatives?
No, but we are planning on meeting the second Tuesday of every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, have it in my calendar.
Good. Okay.
Thursday.
I mean Thursday.
Yeah.
So second.
Whatever it is, I have it in my calendar
Second.
currently. I already put it in.
Where are we?
And I
Okay.
think that's it for me. Do you guys need anything else from me?
We're meeting in the library. by the way.
Serious?
Yeah, we're not going to be here.
Oh, really? Ah, okay, fair enough.
And Ben,
Yeah.
just we want, of course, you to be independent
Yeah.
and do your own thing,
Yeah.
but just know that we're here for you.
Yeah.
And
I tend not to like
Sure.
to do things on an island, and like
I'm just
already,
saying,
there's
any
been a few
support
times
that
where
you need, whatever you need, we're here for you.
I do appreciate it. Yeah, that's amazing. But you guys have like skills that I don't have. So a collaborative effort is almost always
Okay,
better than a
good.
single operator. All right, thank you guys. I
Thank
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Ben.
See you Monday.
See ya.
Good.
Number
good luck,
4,
good
welcome
luck
to
to
the
you.
new town nurse, who is not here. Okay. Margaret, will you follow up with that?
I will, yeah.
Has
Thank
she
you.
actually started?
Well, I emailed her, but I have not heard back. I emailed her.
Did you email her at the Hadley Nurse?
I did, and I also emailed her at her
She
private,
probably doesn't know that.
but I
you also
emailed
emailed
her
her
in
private.
person.
Yeah, I think direct reach out would be good. Indirectly from when I had dropped in here at the senior center yesterday for in a different reason. The person I was speaking to just said that Marcy, did have some questions about.
Alert from no backups for 885 days.
Had questions.
About like, is there a blood pressure cuff? Kind of what is the expected routine, that kind of stuff. So I think it'll be good once we're able to get contact with her.
All right,
Yeah.
I will reach out.
Yeah.
All right, follow up on food establishments who have not yet submitted permit applications.
It's a non,
We got them all.
it's a non-issue.
Good.
We completed them
Yay.
all. There might be
Okay.
one or two that, I'm not sure they're even in business anymore. I mean, they're very small. Locations that might have been in a strip mall somewhere. I don't think they're in business anymore.
Okay.
But the ones that I know you guys contacted, they've all been compliant. A couple of them actually paid penalties and no
Okay.
arguments, no nothing. So we're good to go.
Water testing updates?
I have reached out to the friends to try and continue the conversation and I'm waiting to hear back.
Thank you, Emma.
Yep.
Board of Health initiatives for 2023?
I mean, I think we,
Yeah, I think we kind of
We
covered
kind
that.
of discussed that. I think that has a lot of great ideas. This is so great that we have a health director, huh?
Helps. Very true.
Any other business that could not be reasonably anticipated?
I do want the opportunity to be able to have our board, move into an executive session, to discuss a complaint that was brought forward about a staff member. So in compliance with open meeting law, I'd like to have us have an executive session with that. And then I would like to make a motion that at the end of that executive session, that since I don't think we have any more items on our agenda, that we won't reconvene an open meeting after that executive session.
Okay. So we stop recording?
If the board
We vote?
Approves or-
approves that
Yes,
motion
there
for
you
an
go.
executive
Yes.
session.